Hello, my friends, and welcome once again to the Rustic Von Lodge. And today is my epic comic book Wednesday. Steve Donoghue and myself, on our respective comic book days, are going to be talking about Marvel epic collections. And today I am talking about this particular epic collection. This is Daredevil, the Man Without Fear. This is the first Daredevil epic collection. This is his origin. The first 21 issues of Daredevil are in this big book. This was from 1964 to 1966. This was an interesting period of Daredevil's history. His origin story is in here, and some of his most important adventures are in here as well. So, as far as the origin story goes, it's pretty interesting because his origin was Daredevil was co-created by Bill Everett. And Bill Everett is the guy who created the Submariner, who became popular at this time for being pretty much a Fantastic Four villain. But the Submariner was a hero from the golden age of comic books. And Bill Everett was his creator. So here is Bill Everett creating or co-creating another really important Marvel Comics superhero with Daredevil. And you'll see this is Daredevil's original costume there that Bill Everett designed. Kind of the gymnast type costume there that he wore for the first 5 issues, I believe, before it was transformed. Now this is a very interesting origin story, the origin of Daredevil, the Man Without Fear. See young Matt Murdock, there he is with his dad. His dad is like, don't be like me, little Matt. You should become a lawyer or something. His dad was a boxer who would not throw a fight, and so he was killed by the mob. And so when young Matt Murdock grows up, he becomes Daredevil, the crime-fighting Daredevil who is out for justice. But when Daredevil was just a little fella, he saved this blind guy from being run down by a truck. But unfortunately, this truck contained radioactive material. Now, back in the comic book days, radioactivity didn't give you a cancer or anything like that. No, it generally just gave you superpowers. But unfortunately, this was a bad batch of radiation because it also made poor Matt Murdock blind. But luckily enough, he did gain a superpower from this radioactive material, a sonar radar kind of power, so that he could sense everything that was around him, not just in front of him, but all around him. He can sense where every object is, so it's actually better than sight in a lot of ways. But still, yeah, he's a blind guy, which is in itself interesting. And you see, Matt Murdock did not let that dissuade him. No, he still went forward with his plans of becoming both a lawyer and a crime fighter. And that is what he did. So he became Daredevil, the Man Without Fear. He got justice for his father, and it was a great origin story. One thing Stan Lee could do really, really well, that was write interesting origin stories. He did a great job with this one for Daredevil. Unfortunately, Bill Everett only did this one Daredevil story, and then he left the book, and other artists took over for him. Like this is Joe Orlando did a few issues here. But one thing about this particular epic collection, it's really important, not because of the writing, not that the writing's bad, but this is important for the artists that were in this set of books. Some of the most important Daredevil artists, or just comic book artists in general, showed up in these issues here. The most important being Wally Wood. And this is Wally Wood's first issue of Daredevil there. Wally Wood was an incredible artist. He worked for EC Comics, and he did a lot of stories for weird science and weird science fantasy. Stories like that, the science fiction-y kind of stories he did a lot of. He also did shock suspense and a bunch of other EC stuff. But it was his science fiction that is best remembered. And he's just an incredible artist, fantastic artist for detail. And he only did a few issues of Daredevil, but he really refined Matt Murdock's look. I mean, if you just look at that incredible work there that he does, he did a lot of stuff in this book that kind of carried over and other artists picked up on. You'll see right here, he already changed Daredevil's costume. He added the double Ds instead of the single D that he had. So he was already changing stuff up just in the first issue that he did. And it was, however, which issue was it? I think it was number 7. It was issue number 7, which is one of the greatest Daredevil issues of all time. And you'll notice there that Daredevil has gotten the costume that we are familiar with Daredevil wearing. This costume was designed by Wally Wood. You see the tremendous shadows on the costume, how he becomes a more mysterious figure. That was the work of Wally Wood, and this is you can see why he was such a big deal as an artist. Just look at the level of detail, and this is a Silver Age comic book. You didn't see that kind of artistic mastery very often in Silver Age Marvel comics. Just the level of detail that he gave his stories was just fantastic. You know, you had guys like Jack Kirby who were doing like who knows how many books at the same time, didn't have the time to put in that kind of detail work. But that was what Wally Wood was all about. Was just really incredibly detailed, moody, quality work. And in this issue, Daredevil, a normal guy except for his radar sense, has to fight the Submariner, one of the most powerful characters in the Marvel Universe. It goes about as well as you'd think. Submariner pretty much beats the crap out of our poor Daredevil. Daredevil gives him a fight, though. He does his best. But, yeah, in the end, that's poor Daredevil there. But you see, he never gives up. He's still fighting all the way. And at the end, Submariner says, "I have fought the Fantastic Four, the Avengers, and other super-powered humans, but none have been more courageous than he, the most vulnerable of all." And that might be the thing about Daredevil. This guy has got guts. And this was a truly epic issue because you had the main character, the main superhero, lose a fight. But in losing, he proved how courageous and how great a hero he actually was. So oddly enough, Daredevil getting his butt kicked by Namor was one of his, most impressive accomplishments in a way, because it was a hopeless fight. A normal guy can't beat Submariner. I mean, this guy is, goes one-on-one with the Thing. But he tried. He showed that courage. He is truly the man without fear. Now, Wally Wood, he only did a few issues of Daredevil. But those issues were just fantastic. And the artwork was really moody and really dynamic. And it really carried over. It really influenced the rest of the Daredevil run. This was when Daredevil started to become Daredevil, the Daredevil that we know. A lot of that was influenced by the moody artwork and the costume change of Wally Wood. So you can't really give Wally Wood enough credit. He deserved it. He was just fantastic. I mean, just look at the shadows on the costume. Just look how great Daredevil looks. Man, that's artwork right there. Great stuff. But unfortunately, he didn't stay on the book very long, but that's okay because another fantastic artist came on board, and that was John Romita, one of the most important artists to ever work on Marvel Comics. John Romita, this is some of his earlier Marvel work, but he went on to become one of the most important, if not the most important, Spider-Man artists. His work on Spider-Man was just beautiful. It was just beautiful work. He's an incredible artist, perfect for Daredevil, and he did a great run on Daredevil. Unfortunately, he didn't stay on board for too long. He left the book as well because he had to go do some tremendous work on Spider-Man, and he was replaced by another incredible artist, Gene Colan. Now, Gene Colan, if you read comic books, particularly in the 1970s, this guy's style is automatically recognizable. I mean, you couldn't see a Gene Colan page and not know it was penciled by Gene Colan, because he had a style literally like nobody else. An incredible artist. His masterpiece, of course, was Tomb of Dracula. He did every monthly issue of Tomb of Dracula, and that was a masterpiece of comic book art. Just incredible. But he's also very famous for his work on Daredevil. He worked on Daredevil a long, long time. And he left, he came back, he left, he came back, but he was huge on Daredevil. Incredible. And this Epic Collection has his earliest issues on the character. So all around, just for the artwork alone, this is an important book. This is a great book. Stan Lee did some good stories here. I don't think he never really had Daredevil reach Daredevil's ultimate potential. Daredevil was an incredible character, but Daredevil never reached his full potential until the 1980s, when Frank Miller took over the book and completely transformed Daredevil into an incredible crime book. I said some not so nice things about Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns when I talked about that comic. But Frank Miller was brilliant on Daredevil. I mean, that is beyond dispute. He did an incredible job on that character. Daredevil's an interesting character. And there are a lot of Marvel Epic Collections out about Daredevil. So you might be seeing more from Daredevil in the future. We will see. So yeah, that was my Epic Comic Book Wednesday for today. Daredevil, the man without fear. Be sure to tune into Steve Donoghue's channel to see what Epic Collection he's talking about. And I will see you next time here at the Rustic Fawn Lodge. Bye, guys.